that Puck's roots could go as far back as the Greek god Pan, or even to the pagan deity, the Green Man. Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. If you don't know, my name is Brittany and I film videos based around the paranormal and mythological beings. So if that's something that you think might interest you, quickly go ahead and click that subscribe button. And today we're actually going to be talking about hobgoblins. Now, a hobgoblin is a spirit of the hearth. And if you've seen the Spiderwick Chronicles, there is actually a hobgoblin in that. Now, they were once considered helpful. However, since the spread of Christianity, now they're considered mischievous. In some legends, they're actually viewed as harmful, while in others, they are friendly allies. Now, hobgoblins are usually found in human homes. They're very similar to brownies that way, and they'll do odd jobs around the house while the family is asleep. They do things like dusting and ironing, like these, small things that you don't really think of. Now, the only compensation necessary for a hobgoblin is food. So things like cream and milk, they won't accept clothing. And if you try to leave them clothing, they will actually disappear. Not just disappear like they're gone for a day or so, like just gone. They will not come back. And that's actually very similar to a lot of fairies. I don't really know why, but I think it's because they're doing these things to help you, and they're not expecting anything in return. So it's kind of like, obviously Dobby from Harry Potter is not a hobgoblin, but it's kind of like the same thing. Like, Dobby is working for the family. However, the hobgoblin's not a slave to a family, so it is a little different. But Dobby's working for the family, and when he's presented a sock, then he's free. So kind of the same concept, but a little different. Hobgoblins are these nimble creatures that seem to be able to shapeshift. However, most of them choose not to. They are small, hairy little men who wear brown, ragged clothes or nothing at all. And they're depicted as small or tiny. However, they're not much smaller than humans, which is kind of something crazy to think about. But I think things in the fairy realm can vary in size so drastically that when you say something small, it's around our size. So they're not much smaller than humans. Now, hobgoblins are very fond of practical jokes and playing pranks. And they're slightly mischievous, but they're not antagonizing. So they're doing these practical jokes and these pranks because they just think it's fun. It's not to cause harm onto you. They're usually pretty good-humored and helpful. However, they do distrust large groups of humans. So if you do think that you do have a hobgoblin in your home, it's better to try to communicate with them by yourself, since they don't really trust humans that much, and it's very understandable why they don't trust humans. They also do not trust any machine or electrical item. So again, if you are trying to communicate with a hobgoblin, or basically any fairy, they're not really going to be fond of your cell phone or a camera or TVs, things like that. Now, they are also easily annoyed. When a hobgoblin gets teased or misused, they can become boggarts, which are creatures whose sole existence is to play tricks on you and make your life miserable. Now, boggarts can be troublesome, frightening, and even dangerous at times. And they're extremely difficult to get rid of. So remember, if you do think that you have a hobgoblin in your home, make sure that you are not misusing it, taking advantage of it. They're doing these things, you guys, to just kind of, they're trying to help you. They're trying to make your life a little bit easier. They're trying to take this little bit of weight off your chest and bring it out of the kindness of their heart, and not because they need to. So when you're expecting them to do these things and you're leaving these giant messes, just expecting them to clean it up, they're going to feel misused and unappreciated, and it's just like anything. Like, I know nobody likes feeling unappreciated. I know I don't. So it's like anything. So just make sure to let it know that you appreciate it. But remember, you cannot give it clothes because then it will vanish forever. A hob is actually a shelf that is located on the back or the side of a fireplace. And it was used to either store utensils or keep food warm. And this is actually a hobgoblin's favorite spot, which might be where it got its name. Now, most hobgoblins prefer a human household. However, they can live in the forest and they are more solitary fae. They will live in trees and they're generally peaceful. However, if they're provoked, or especially if their tree is threatened, then they become very dangerous, which is like most creatures. When their home is being attacked, they want to fight for it, they want to protect it. So it's a very normal, natural response. Now, in English folklore, hobgoblins are generally harmless. However, they can make a nuisance of themselves since they enjoy the pranks. And in German legends, they are very malevolent spirits who like to harass people, lead them down the wrong path, or even just terrorize them. In Puritan times, the people used the term hobgoblin to describe wicked local spirits. Now, the most commonly known hobgoblin is Puck from Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Now, if you guys have never heard of that, which is very surprising to me, but because it's Shakespeare, it is a great story. I actually have from Barnes & Noble, I have a copy, like a children's copy for Sebastian. Anyway, so Puck, or Robin Goodfellow, has been the most popular character in English folklore for the last 1,000 years, you guys. They are believed to be a fairy, goblin, devil, or an imp. Now, remember, a hobgoblin is actually a type of fairy. So they're not. Fairy is a very broad term. It's not just the winged little humanoid figure that you think of when you hear the term fairy. Even though that is a fairy, it's just there's different terms depending on spelling and stuff like that. So Pook, which is actually another term for Puck, and so this was actually a medieval term for devil. And some sources actually believe that Puck's roots could go as far back as the Greek god Pan, or even to the pagan deity, the Green Man. Now, it is believed that Robin Goodfellow is sometimes described as having a head of a youth and a body of a goat. So, think of a satyr, if you guys know what that is. It's that same thing. Body of a goat, head of a person, of a usually male. So like the god Pan, he has a lusty nature, small horns on his head, and he carries musical pipes. Now, it may be he's a fairy remnant of the horn god or nature spirits. They may have originally actually been a race of Pucks. So that's the other thing, guys, is the term Puck isn't used to describe one singular fairy. It's one singular type of fairy, which is insane. But in the Shakespeare story, it is just one Puck. Now, Robin Goodfellow is known as a hobgoblin. And hob is actually short for Robin or Robert. And Robin itself was actually a medieval nickname for devil. Now, he would mislead travelers and shapeshift, but he was also very helpful. And he was a domestic sprite, much like a brownie. Now, he would clean houses in exchange for cream or milk. And if he was offered new clothes, then he would stop cleaning. Now, a connection has been made between Robin Goodfellow and the Green Men. And it's interesting because carvings of the Green Men, you guys, can be found on churches and cathedrals, like so many of them. It is believed that these carvings were carved into the stone secretly and without the permission of the church. Now, the green man represents nature, renewal, and reproduction, and is closely linked to the passing of the seasons as well, and the waxing and waning of the sun. Now, the church's opinion of Puck, Robin Goodfellow, and the Green Man, and also the public's opinion, was that they were associated with the devil. Now, Puck, on the other hand, was a nature spirit, and he doesn't really care for our perceptions of him. Now, he can manipulate nature to serve his own ends. Puck has connections with the European hoods, or elves of the woods, and this often connected him to Robin Hood. Now, many pagans actually believe that Robin Hood was actually a fairy or a pagan god. Now, as a shapeshifter, Puck had many appearances over the years. One Irish story had him as an old man. He's also been pictured like a brownie or a hobbit. In a 1785 painting by William Blake, he looks like Pan from Greek mythology. And in an 1841 painting by Richard Dadd, he looked like an innocent child. So many different depictions over the years. And Puck often used his shape-shifting abilities, you guys, to create mischief. He would turn himself into a horse and lead people on a crazy ride, and occasionally dumping them into water. Now, the Welsh version of Puck, so I'm going to spell it so you guys know how it's spelled. It's Pwca. And this version also actually lead travelers with a lantern and then blow it out when they were on the edge of a cliff, which is very terrifying. Now, being misled by Puck was known as Puck-ledding. However, phrases like pixie-led and Robin Goodfellow has been with you tonight were also very common and date back as far as 1531. However, prior to Shakespeare, Robin Goodfellow and Puck were two separate entities. And after Shakespeare wrote A Midsummer's Night Dream, they are now more commonly seen as the same being. Now, generally, hobgoblins, pucks, or Robin Goodfellows, which are said to be the same things, are kind and benevolent fairies, you guys. And in order to thank them, remember, cream or milk, no clothes. Now, as you guys know, if you have watched my videos before, I do believe in the fairy realm, also known as the other world. If you don't, that is perfectly okay. Just remember to be kind about other people's opinions. But I want to know what you guys think about Puck and hobgoblins and Robin Goodfellow. And if there's anything that you guys would like me to dive into, please feel free. Please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to hear from you guys. As you can tell, my son is very happy right now. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed yet, it would mean the world to me, you guys, if you could hit that subscribe button. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you next time.